We're having another reading of Mehera-Meher, and we're on page, let me just check for you, 579. This is a list of the movies and plays that Baba and Mehera, or Baba or Mehera and the Mandali saw. So, continuing on with the list, the story of Esther Costello from 1957. Joan Crawford was in it at the Excelsior Theater, Bombay, 23 January 1958. And this one they saw without Baba. Strange Journey, 1946 film. They saw in Ahmednagar on 22 December 1948. Strike Me Pink, 1936 movie with Eddie Cantor, Ethel Merman. Was seen in Ahmednagar, 18 July 1936. Sweet Madness, a play with Richard Attenborough, was seen at the Vaudeville Theatre, London, 31 July 1952. Sword of the Avenger from 1948 was seen at Ahmednagar, 4 June 1949. A Tale of Two Cities, 1935 film with Ronald Colman, Basil Rathbone, seen at the Palace Theatre, Bombay, 5 June 1936, and also in Hyderabad in 1951. Tarzan, 1932 film with Johnny Weissmuller, seen at the Circle Cinema in Nashik, 6 to 13 May or 26 August to 2nd September 1933. Tarzan's Secret Treasure, 1941 film with Johnny Weissmuller and Marina Sullivan, seen in Ahmednagar, 27 November 1948. The Ten Commandments, 1956 film with Charlton Heston, Yul Brynner, seen at the Regal Cinema in Bombay, 24 January 1958. The women saw it on 28 January 1958. They Died with Their Boots On, 1941 film with Errol Flynn and Olivia de Havilland, seen in Ahmednagar, December 1947. The Thin Man, 1934 film with Myrna Loy, William Powell, seen in Ahmednagar. This Land Is Mine, 1943 film Charles Lawton and Marina Hera, seen in Lahore, 1943. This Thing Called Love, 1940 film with Rosalind Russell, Ahmednagar, 31 July 1941. Those Magnificent Men and Their Flying Machines, 1965 film with Stuart Whitman, Red Skelton, Sarah Miles, Terry Thomas. The women alone saw it in Pune. The Three Musketeers, 1948 film with Lana Turner, Gene Kelly, June Allison, seen at the Metro. Tiger Bay, 1934 film with seen at the Roxy Theater in Bombay, 16 April 1934. Tiger Shark, 1932 film with Edward G. Robinson, seen in Ahmednagar, 16 February 1934. To Each His Own, 1946 film, Olivia de Havilland, seen in Ahmednagar. To Marry with Love, 1936 film with Warner Baxter, Myrna Loy, seen in Ahmednagar, 29 May 1937. Tomorrow is Forever, 1946 film with Claudette Colbert, Orson Welles, seen in Ahmednagar, 1 December 1947. Topaz, 1933 film with John Barrymore and Myrna Loy, seen 16 March 1934. Topper, 1937 film with Cary Grant, Constance Bennett, Hedda Hopper, seen at the Palace Theatre, Bombay, 21 December 1937. Trader Horn, 1931 film, seen at the Madeleine Cinema in Paris, 13 December 1931. The Trapp Family, 1956 film. Women Alone saw it in Pune. A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, 1945 film with Dorothy McGuire, seen in Dehradun. 20 Mule Team, 1940 film with Wallace Beery, seen in Ajmer, 2 July 1941. Ajmer. 20,000 Years in Sing Sing, 1932 film with Spencer Tracy, Betty Davis, seen in Ahmednagar, 2 February 1934. Typhoon, 1940 film with Dorothy Lamour, Robert Preston, Regal Cinema, Calcutta, 22 July 1940. Eva, you reading today? Could you unmute and then read?
Yes. I'm just trying to make the page bigger. Undercurrent, 1946. Katharine Hepburn, Robert Taylor, Robert Mitchum, seen in Ahmednagar, 16 June 1948. The Unsinkable Molly Brown, 1964. Debbie Reynolds, Mehera and Women Alone saw at West End, Pune, 3 to 9 June 1966. Von Ryan's Express, 1965. Frank Sinatra, Trevor Howard, Pune, 23 May 1967. Mondele sent to see it. Women also probably saw it in 1967. Wake Up and Dream, 1946. Ahmednagar, excuse me, 19 December 1948. Wanted for Murder, 1946. Ahmednagar, 13 October 1948. The Way of All Flesh, 1940. Ahmednagar, 5 June 1948. Way Out West, 1937. Laurel and Hardy, Ahmednagar, 29 January 1938. We Are Not Alone, 1939. Paul Mooney, Ajmer, 7 June 1941. Where's Charlie, 1952. Ray Bolger, Radio City Music Hall, New York, 22 July 1952. Where There's Life, 1947. Bob Hope, William Bendix, Ahmednagar, 11 December 1948. Whispering Smith, 1948. Alan Ladd, Ahmednagar, 10 October 1949. Uh, Sorry, the page keeps moving. Thank you. White Horse Inn, a play. London Coliseum, 26 September 1931 and 13 April 1932. The White Sister, 1933. Helen Hayes, Clark Gable, Apollo Theatre, Bombay, 4 September 1933. The White Shadows, 1924. Rome, 7 July 1933. The White Tower, sorry, The White Tower, 1950. Glen Ford, Lloyd Bridges, The Plaza, Hyderabad, 7 July 1951. The Wizard of Oz, 1939. Judy Garland, Wade Bulger, Jack Haley, Bert Lahr, Ahmednagar, 3 May 1940. The Wonderful World of the Brothers Grimm, 1962. Lawrence Harvey, Claire Bloom, Barbara Eden, Women Alone Saw in Pune, 1966. The Wrong Man, 1956. An Alfred Hitchcock film, Henry Fonda, Women Alone Saw in Pune, prior to 1964. But Mehra narrated the true story to Baba about an innocent man being sent to jail and his wife's subsequent breakdown as a result.
I think the sidebar refers to that film too. Go ahead and read it.
Baba told Mehra, "The man is very fortunate. You have no idea how great a spiritual push he has received. First, because he was wrongly convicted, but a still greater push because you have told me his story and I have focused on him." And sorry, I have to stop reading now. I have to leave.
Okie dokie. Thanks, Eva.
Thank you, Jay Baba.
Jay Baba. So back to the list. The final one on the play on the list is Ziegfeld Follies, 1946. Judy Garland, Lucille Ball, Fred Astaire, Lena Horne, Red Skelton. Seen in Ahmednagar. And in addition, Baba also saw other films of Abbott and Costello, Buster Keaton, that was in Venice, 5 April 1932, Fatty Arbuckle, Virginia Bruce, Eddie Cantor, Bob Hope, Laurel and Hardy, the Marx Brothers, Paul Mooney, Claude Rains, Edward G. Robinson, and Shirley Temple, both as a child and as a teenager. Next, we have a list of Hindi films. Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves, 1954 film. In Pune, 1966, without Baba. Amrapali, 1966 film, seen in Pune, 1966, without Baba. Anarkali, 1966, in Pune, 1966, without Baba. Bharat Milap, 1942 film, seen in Dehradun, 7 March 1942. Basma Sur Mohini, 1913 film, directed by Dada Shaheb Phalke, seen in Mehrabad, 9 May 1925. Dup Chaon, 1935 film, seen in Ahmednagar, 4 July 1936. Do Biga Zameen, 1953 film. Doesn't say where they saw it. An Evening in Paris, 1967 film with Shami Kapoor and Sharmila Tagore. Women saw it in Pune. This is page 581, by the way. Gopal Krishna, 1938 film, seen in Goa, 12 April 1940. Goraknath, 1940 film, Ahmednagar, circa 1948. The Guide, 1965, Devanand and Alpana or Vasant, seen in Pune, 1966, without Baba. Hangama, 1952, seen in Pune, 1966, without Baba. Harish Chandra, 1932 film, seen at the Circle Cinema in Nasik, February 1932, February 1932 for Harish Chandra. Hatim Tai, 1956 film, seen in Pune, 1966, without Baba. Indra Sabha, which means Court of Heaven, 1932 film, seen in Nasik at the Circle Cinema, 18 to 21 July 1932. J. Meher, that was Bau's play, seen in Ahmednagar, 8 March 1962. Janmabhoomi, meaning birthplace, 1936 film, Circle Cinema, Nasik, 31 January 1937. Janak Payal Bhaja, 1955 film. Mehera and the Women saw it in Satara on 30 April 1956, and again with Baba at Asha Talkies in Ahmednagar, 21 June 1956. Jhansi Kirani, 1953. Johar Mahmood in Goa, 1965. The women saw it in Pune. Laila Majnu, 1931 film, seen at the Circle Cinema in Nasik, 21 to 22 December 1932, or 6 to 10 March 1933. And another movie by the same name, Laila Majnu, but from 1953, seen in Pune in 1966 without Baba. Main Chup Rahungi, 1962 film, seen in Pune in the 60s. Mira, 1947 film, seen in Satara, 1954. The sidebar says Baba also sent the men separately to see Mira and Milan. Milan is the 1967 film. Women saw it in Pune, 2 June 1967. Miss Mary, 1957 film, seen at Kishore, or rather, starring Kishore Kumar and Meena Kumari, seen in Pune, 1957. Mother India, 1957 film with Sunil Dutt, and it's and Nargis. Mughal e Azam, 1960 film. Prithviraj Kapoor. Baba and the women saw separately at different times in Pune. Rosalie, do you mind continuing from?
I have a question. I mean, I don't see any of these in my book.
Oh, well, is it possible for you to read it on the screen or?
Yeah, but are you reading at the end of volume two?
That is correct.
Yeah, how could they be totally different?
It, it could be that they decided on this place to put these.
No, but I mean, this is under movies and plays, Baba and Marisol. What I want to know is, I like to see them. I like to know them. I made copies of out of this, but these seem like totally different movies.
Oh, well, maybe they remembered more.
I guess kind of confusing. Yeah, I think I could read it. Well, okay. Okay, where are we? Miguel Camille?
Correct.
Yeah. Film directed by and starring Rustam Kearani, Minerva Talkies, Bombay, 21st May, 2nd June 1938. Baba probably saw this film in Nasik with the woman.
And I think the sidebar refers to that
Yeah.
film too.
For the film credits, Rustam used the pseudonym of Rukesh, a combination of his full name, Rustam Kaikushru Saroshirani. Puran Bhagat, 1933, also known as Puran Bhagat and Puran Bhakt. Wellington Cinema, Bombay, May 18th, 1933. Women saw this film at Circle Cinema, Nasik, 17 to 23 July 1933. Piazza, 1957, Guru Dutt, Pune. Ram Raja, 1943, Lahore, 1943. Ram Vanwas, 1918, Ahmednagar. Sahib Bibi Aur Gulam, 1962, Women Saw in Pune. Saint Saku, Meherabad, 10 May 1925. Sant Tukaram, Meherabad, 3 April 1925. Sant Tukaram, 1936. Shireen Farhad, 1931. Cinema, Circle Cinema, Nasik, 6-9 March 1933. Sita Haran, 1936, Nasik, 1930s. Tansen, 1943. K.L. Saigal, Lahore, 1943. Tere Gar Ke Samne, 1963. Newton, Dev Anand, Woman Saw in Pune, 1966, without Baba. Tyaya Gaya, 1946, a Telugu film, Sun Theatre, Madras. 4 April 1947, Baba saw the first portion of the film and then left. He did that many a time, actually. Vaishali Pune, 1966, without Baba. And that's it.
So next is an index. So we'll switch to volume 3 in a second. Let me just pause the recording. Okay, it's resumed. Go ahead.
Radha Krishna, Sitaram, Mehera-Meher. Why do people place your name before the Lord's? The Creator worships his creation with absolute devotion. So through the ages, your name is sung before his. From Balkalcheri's Song for Mera, 1972, as explained by Meher Baba.
Okay, we have a bunch of,
And on the plane,
let's see, I think I have to make it just a bit smaller because it's,
oh, I see where you're, okay. No, that's okay. I can read it from my book.
okay.
One day, one day in 1967, Baba came in, this is Mara speaking. Baba came into my room and sat on a chair. I had washed Baba's hair that day. It was still wet, so I was untangling it before I brushed and combed it. Baba asked after some time, "Are you finished?" As he felt his braid. Very slowly, he got up from his seat, and then he came and sat on the edge of my bed. I was so happy that Baba was seated on my bed. I embraced him. I was a bit foolish and said, "Baba, I get into bed from the other side." So Baba said, "All right," came around and sat on that side also. Baba was so sweet. Whatever I requested, he would do. He was the God man. He showed us how to please one another. I still remember that time. All these little details of his sweet and endearing ways come back to me in the night. Mara. Okay, during World War II, while the world smoldered in worldwide conflagration, Meher Baba traveled in a bus with Mara and a group of women disciples across the length and breadth of the Indian subcontinent. Volume 2 of Mehera-Meher portrayed these journeys and the sometimes humorous adventures along the way. After returning to Mehrabad, a new residential headquarters named Meherazad was established on the outskirts of Ahmednagar, but not for long, as Baba and a few select companions set off on what he described as the new life. 2 more years of wanderings would pass with extended stays in Dehradun, Mahabaleshwar, and Hyderabad before they returned to Meherazad. Volume 3 begins in 1952 with another journey, this time to the west, as Baba prepares to take Mehera and 3 other women Mandali to America, where a center had been established in his name. Part 1 is called Blood. I will say something before I'll start this from the book, because we just had a gathering commemorating Elizabeth Patterson had sent Baba a cable saying that she was ready for him to come to visit. And he cabled her back and he says, the first 2 weeks at Meher Center, I will be in seclusion to complete my Manunash work for the benefit of the West. So for the first 2 weeks, he was in seclusion. So the script says, fun on the plane. Meher Baba had not traveled to the West for 15 years, since he had taken the women Mandali to France in 1937. On that occasion, Baba had not permitted any new clothing to be stitched outside the ashram. The women had had to sew their new blouses and skirts themselves. Now, in preparing for their trip to Myrtle Beach, Erich's sister, Mehera-Meher, was given orders for what to make, such as a pair of slacks for each. In addition, a tailor came to Marazad and prepared sari blouses out of expensive material. And Mera said, I never had any slacks stitched for myself. I always used 2 or 3 of Mani's, as she had extra pairs. We often wore the same things. Since we weren't going out much, we didn't need many clothes. The women were not especially excited about the upcoming trip. We were not looking forward to going to the West in 1952, Mera continued. We did not feel comfortable in foreign places. Baba told us about the Meher Center and the opening ceremony, but we weren't dying to go. Another reason for the lack of enthusiasm was that Baba was not well. He had had an operation for piles on 26 February 1952. And a week later, he got a violent reaction from his smallpox vaccination. All those traveling to the West were required to have the vaccination. Normally, one had to be vaccinated at a designated health clinic. But because of Sarosha's influence, he was able to arrange for the health official to come to Marazad. Goher did not administer the vaccine to Mera and the others. The health official did it in Baba's bedroom. But Goher stood nearby and held Mera's arm while the official administered the vaccination, a scratch on the upper arm, so that he did not touch Mera while doing it. Other injections had to be taken also. Baba touched his right forefinger to his left forefinger and told Mera, it won't hurt at all, like a pinprick. Still, Mera felt queasy about receiving injections. My mind was nervous, thinking of the needles Goher had brought, she recalled, while Baba tried to occupy it with talk of what I had prepared that day. I said, I know you're trying to take my mind off the shots, Baba, but all the time it is on the needles. Afterwards, I did get used to taking shots. I need a shot of water. The women had not wanted Baba to be injected, and Goher assured Baba that she would sign the certificate anyway, stating that he had been vaccinated. Baba, however, insisted that he should be vaccinated along with everyone else, as this was the law. As it turned out, none of the women had a reaction, but Baba's entire arm swelled and became inflamed. He developed lymphangitis, and pox marks appeared on his arm. He became feverish too. In an effort to combat the infection, Goher gave Baba a penicillin injection for the first time. Although she confided it always pained her greatly to have to put a needle in Baba's arm. Baba had been using his bedroom upstairs, but because of his reaction to the injections, he shifted to the downstairs bedroom. Those days were a bit heavy, Mehera reflected. Baba was not pleased about the injections and had to suffer in silence. We did not like to see him like this. The injection site on his arm was swollen and painful. Baba couldn't say anything. Goher and ourselves did our best to serve him. Baba's suffering proved a fateful portent for this trip. God help Baba and the West, Padre wrote in a note to Adi Sr. Baba was not happy about his dentures either. As Mehera stated, he did not like to wear them. Baidu and Gustaji had been given dentures, and Eric pointed out that Baba always made them wear theirs. Baba complained that the dentures made in Hyderabad were too heavy. Eric said that in that case, he would find some lighter ones. At the end of March, Baba went to Pune to have another pair fitted by Dr. Barucha. Though these dentures were made of a lightweight material, Baba did not like them either, but he did wear them in the West. Although not in the best of health, Baba seemed less preoccupied, more interested in things around him than he was before setting out on the new life. He seemed generally more cheerful as well. We were too, Mehru stated, but at the same time, in the back of our minds, we had to be careful about Baba's moods. These moods became even more noticeable after they arrived in Bombay on Sunday, 6th of April. They were not scheduled to fly until the 18th, and originally, Baba planned to spend the intervening days at Ashiana with Mehera, Mani, Mehru, Goher, Naja, Kitty, and Rano. Although Naja was not accompanying them to the West, her health was always precarious, and she did not know English well. She traveled with him to Bombay. And the sidebar says, America, another consideration was that if Baba had taken Naja, Khorshid too would have insisted on going. And Baba could not have taken so many due to practical and financial constraints. So while Baba and the others were in America, Naja stayed with Arnavas in Bombay. About Baba's moods. Baba's moods became even more noticeable after they arrived in Bombay. I said that. It was summer, uncomfortably hot and humid in Bombay, and Baba was restless. shut up in the apartment all day. He was not in a good mood either. One of the reasons might have been the noise, the women thought. The Christian owners of the building stayed in the apartment directly beneath Ashiana. During the day, their children made a racket running up and down the staircase. At night, when the husband came home, invariably tipsy, the real disturbance began. From the loud banging, it sounded as if he were rearranging the furniture. No one could sleep, and the women kept awake, waiting for Baba to clap. Baba complained that he could not rest properly. He put up with it for a few days before asking someone to arrange another house outside of Bombay. A vacant apartment was found in Bandra, belonging to the Goanese Christian woman. They shifted, but here too, every night, Baba became piqued over loud music being played nearby. He grumbled about his room and made the women switch with him, changing his room and bed nearly every night. Baba clapped to wake the women. They rubbed the sleep from their eyes and got out of bed. Goher, who was sleeping near Baba, came first. Mehera was sleeping far away, but she too woke up. We didn't know why he was complaining, Mehera said, but he was not pleased. Even here, Baba was not happy. So again they moved, this time to Marve, much farther from Bombay, to the north and by the sea. They stayed in a cottage near the beach, and their rooms were comfortable. It was quiet and pleasant, and the sea air was invigorating. Their meals came from elsewhere, delivered by car, so they had no work and kept Baba company. But he was still not satisfied. Mehera surmised later again the reason Baba was in such an agitated state before their departure was that he knew about the impending accident. One day, Baba suggested that they go for a swim in the sea. Arnavas was instructed to chaperone them. Mehera, Meru, Kitty, and Rano went, while Mani stayed back. Being summer, it was hot, so we dove in, said Mehera, but just for 10 minutes. Just for 10 minutes that day. It was not that great. In the evenings, Baba came to the beach and took a walk while we roamed about. We did not follow him closely. We looked at the sea or picked up shells. I watched Baba go far away and then take 2 or 3 turns and come back. From Marve, they returned to Ashiana on Friday, 18th April, to prepare for their flight that night. Mehera changed into warm slacks. She knew that it would be cool in the plane. I was wearing a silk shirt and slacks and a matching tailored jacket of the same material. It looked stylish. Baba too was dressed in Western clothes, commented Mehera. The sidebar says the 5 men accompanying Baba, Adi Sr., Meherji, Sarosh, Nilu, and Gustaji, were leaving 2 days later. Don had flown to America weeks ahead of the others to help Norina and Elizabeth make arrangements for Baba's arrival in Myrtle Beach. They arrived at the airport around 9 p.m., 2 hours before their TWA flight. Feeling hot, Mehera removed her jacket and held it over her arm. But it wasn't only the heat that made her feel uncomfortable. As soon as she climbed the stairs to board the plane, she began to feel queasy, uneasy. It was the first time that Mehera or any of the other women had flown. When we were going to the west on the gangway to board the plane, just as my feet left the ground, I felt something in my stomach. I thought, no, I mustn't be afraid. Baba is with me. And I kept that thought there and was okay. I always loved traveling in a train, so I made myself think this was a train. Pretending I was traveling on a train took away the uncomfortable feeling. On the plane, Baba and Mehera sat next to each other, Mehera next to the window and Baba on the aisle. Rano and Goher were in front of them, Mani and Meru and the world behind. Kitty sat alone in the row in front of Rano and Goher. Baba was wearing his hair tucked inside his collar in a braid, so it was not seen. He tied a scarf around his neck to make his hair even less conspicuous, and no one noticed it. The stewardess took their overcoats and hung them up. 15 minutes after the plane took off, it was quite cold. Mehera shivered in the silk blouse. Baba pointed to the air conditioner vent, and Mehera twisted it shut. The stewardess came quickly towards them, smiled, and pulled out a soft blue blanket and a small pillow for each.
Excuse me. Did you read that sidebar? The five men accompanying Baba?
I did.
Oh, thank you.
Um, she handed a pillow and blanket to Baba also. A European couple was sitting near them. The man was bald and he too turned off the vent. When he closed his eyes to sleep, however, his wife opened it. The man closed it again. As soon as he seemed to be dozing, the women opened it. Finally, to protect his bald head from the cold, the man put on his felt hat, which kept falling over his eyes. Mehera and Baba watched with amusement. Since there were many foreigners on the flight, the women were conscious of appearances. Mani and Meru especially wished to appear sophisticated and travel-wise to the Westerners. Both of you can sit up all night looking very prim and proper if you want to, Mehera told them, but I am not going to. I can't do without sleep. She looked around, feeling very cold and sleepy, curled up her legs on the seat, and pulled the blanket over her head like an ostrich. Baba did the same thing. Then I felt quite relaxed and comfortable, said Mehera. Hours passed. In the middle of the night, Mehera peeped out from under her cocoon to see what the others were doing. They were still up, but after some time, they too dozed fitfully. The sidebar says, on the plane, Baba went alone to the bathroom and used the mirror there to shave. Hours passed. Oh, I read that. Okay. In the morning, Each went to wash in the lavatory. When Mero went to the toilet on the plane, Goher noted, one of us had to be in front. I went in front to move away the men, and Meru followed to protect Mera in the aisle. During the trip, Mera always had two women by her side. Kitty and Ronald helped. We had to be very alert all the time. Meru was not quite feeling herself. The stewardess brought breakfast and handed a tray to Mani, but Meru politely declined each time the stewardess passed. Can I bring you something? The stewardess asked. Yes, said Meru in the end, as the stewardess happily looked at her in anticipation. Some hot water. Meru explained it was the only thing I could take. I couldn't face anything to eat. Meanwhile, Mani was busy digging in. Meru's queasiness lasted throughout the day. She kept watching as trays of food passed across her lap to Mani, who was not about to say no to anything. After all, Mani reasoned it was free. Finally, Meru turned to Mani and asked, how much are you going to eat? Mani elaborated. We were traveling first class. Elizabeth had paid for everything, and Baba said we could have anything. We were free of food restrictions. For so many years, our lives have been restricted in every way. But now Baba said we could eat anything. Nothing could be done without Baba's direction. Everything had to come from him. This time, we needn't ask him. We were in the plane and we were free. I had never seen a poached egg before. For breakfast, they brought two poached eggs on a tray with the yellow part looking like eyes. It reminded me of Eddie Cantor. I was having a lot of fun. I didn't know that Mero was airsick. I was by the window. Meru kept refusing everything. The trays passed right under her nose, and I had every bit of it. Since I wasn't sick, Meru kept saying no, and the stewardess asked, isn't there something you want? The stewardess pointed at me and said, she never says no. I thought, why should I say no? Elizabeth is paid for it. This is first class. I thought, why should I say no? Elizabeth is paid for it. Don't refuse anything. Whatever she brings, say yes, and then pass it on to me. I took my favorite dishes and the rest went back. Mani continued. Along with lunch came a small individual bottle of champagne. I always wanted to taste champagne. I'd heard of how they drank champagne in women's slippers in France, and that at every wedding they drank it. Also, when a son is born in celebration, always champagne. In books I'd read to Baba, it was mentioned, so I should know what it tastes like. I was so thrilled. I told Meru, don't refuse the champagne. Pass it on to me. We were free. I didn't have to go and ask Baba if I could have it, but I didn't enjoy the taste. I was so disappointed. It didn't thrill me. A little later, however, Mani had the chance to try a different alcoholic beverage. When the stewardess asked everyone what they wanted to drink, Immediately, my ears pricked up. I better make it something I've never had, I thought. I love to try anything once, something exotic, just so I could try it. In Rex Stout and other detective books, the detective would lean against the counter, smoking, and order a martini. So I said, "A martini, please." I didn't know what was coming or even how it would be served. A thin stem glass came, and inside was what looked like a green beetle. It was good. I liked it. This was not Monty's first exposure to alcohol. When she was a child, her mother went out one day telling Monty to stay home and look after the house. When Shirima was gone, a man brought a large plate of food com- commemorating the death of some Zoroastrian. With the food was an intoxicating drink similar to vodka. Monty tasted the food and drank the entire glass of liquid. Soon she fell asleep. 6 hours later, her mother came and knocked on the door. Monty told her that she had been asleep the whole time and did not have her lunch, but only the food the man had brought and the hot water. She called it that, she explained, because it burned when she drank it. Another time, Monty's brother Baram won first prize, 25 rupees, in an illustrated weekly photo contest. They planned a party to celebrate. Monty was very young, but wanted some of the bhujas, which they gave her. Everyone was happily drinking beer. Monty did not know what beer was, but this too she wanted to sample. She was given a small glass and discovered it to be incredibly bitter. She drank it anyway, not wishing to show that she found it unpalatable. Being the only girl in the family, Monty wanted to be like her older brothers. She always wondered how she managed to finish it.
Do
On
you have this? Sorry, do you have the sidebar
uh,
up
uh,
above? It says Kitty had some champagne, but it made her so ill she was unable to help look after Mara when they landed in New York.
uh, it says on the plane, Baba too had sipped the champagne. For breakfast, he ate the bacon and eggs. Mara recalled, "We had many good things to eat in that plane, but no exercise. Mara was thinking to skip the last meal before landing. But when it came, the chicken was so tempting, she decided to make the most of it while it lasted. Once they reached Myrtle Beach, they would have to be vegetarian again." Mara said, "I didn't feel airsick at all, but I didn't enjoy the plane journey, only that Baba was there next to me. It was not uncomfortable, but not enjoyable like a train journey where you can look out the window and enjoy the scenery. I like the takeoff the most. You feel important. Fasten your seat belts." Baba pointed out things through the window. Their flight from India to America made 6 stops in Bahrain, Cairo, Rome, Paris, Shannon, and Gander, Newfoundland. We had a very nice Egyptian air hostess who got down in Cairo. Mira continued. A Parisian one got on who was beautiful, but a bit cold. too aware of her beauty and inattentive to the passengers' needs. There was an American one, too, who was warm hearted. Everyone, including Baba and the women, got off the plane during the brief stopover in Rome. Mara enjoyed seeing the airport, shops, and people. We got down and looked around. It was cold there. The women working in the shops looked at us so respectfully. We admired everything but didn't buy anything. Back on board, Rano's swiveled her row of seats so that they sat facing Baba and Mara. Baba stretched out his feet between Rano and Goher and covered himself with a blanket, telling Rano to be quiet and not to move. Rano scooted over so as not to touch Baba. Just then, the stewardess came by and handed Rano the immigration forms to be filled out for everyone. And the sidebar says in those days, a few rows of airline seats rotated. Ranu and Gohar were seated in the rotating seats. Several times while she was asking questions, she felt Baba's foot poking her to be quiet. Finally, Baba took off the blanket and asked what was going on. Meanwhile, well, he did it silently. He must have done it on the board. Meanwhile, Kitty had changed places with Mani and Meru. Mani was sitting next to the window and reported that after a while, she could not see Meru. She was not in her seat. Meru had slid all the way down to the floor and was sleeping with her head under the seat in front of her. Mani shook her awake because Ranu had turned their seats around facing Baba. Meru explained. My seat was tilting forward a bit. Since my head had gone completely under the seat in the morning when I tried to raise it up, I didn't know what was happening. Baba had a good chuckle over it when he was told. Baba was still not feeling well and rested for most of the flight. Often he covered his face with a kerchief, cloth napkin, or face towel and kept his eyes shut. He was not looking around or smiling. Even so, during the first leg of their journey, after breakfast had been served, a small boy lingered near Baba. Somehow drawn to him, Mara said, Baba, there is a little child who keeps watching you. Baba took off the cloth, smiled at him, and patted him. The boy left, but came back again. The parents took him away before the family got down at Paris, thinking he was disturbing the gentleman.
Thank you, Rosalie. We'll pick up here next week. Um, Top paragraph of page 17. But before we close the recording, there's just a little sidebar that we have in the online version. I'll read for you. Mani was also impressed with the quote, utter and general friendliness of the American people, as she later wrote to Adele Wolkin. Um, I think that is being said because of the American stewardess that got on.
Yeah,
Yeah, and Mani continued, quote, even utter strangers. When we were on the plane going over to New York, I had occasion to say something to the couple sitting before me. Before we talked 10 minutes, I had from them a, a sincere invitation to stay over at their place during my visit to the States. And we didn't even know each other's names. Also, later, from nurses in hospitals, from passers-by on the road, from people in hotels and motels. Okay.